For those of you who want to talk to me, and I hope you will want to after the session, my name is Ivan. It's not Russian, it's Welsh. And those of you who are already in my MKT 402 class will know it's pronounced like two women's names, Eve and Anne. Just say Ivan, just gently and quietly running one into the other, and you got it spot on. You can see that? So what am I going to do today? I'm going to try and do something very ambitious with you. I'm going to explore a little bit of the future of e-business, the future of e-marketing. But of course, that's a silly thing to try and do, because as you know, many famous people have tried to look into the future and thought, no, I'm not going to go there. Albert Einstein, for those of you who don't know the guy, was one of the founding fathers of relativity theory and all the rest, way back a century ago. The future is hugely important. And it's important for one very significant reason. We're all going to be living in it, whether we like it or not. Well, of course, we can opt out of it. There's obvious ways of opting out of it. But I hope none of you are going to have a fruitful career, hopefully in e-marketing. And those of you who aren't currently studying e-marketing, but maybe doing finance, accounting, logistics, or whatever, will get some idea of the richness of e-marketing and some of the things I've got to say this afternoon. So the future is important, but it's problematic, because what's the roadmap for actually looking into the future, trying to get a handle on it? And the answer is really, well, there are lots of different ways of dealing with it. If you look in the textbooks, they'll normally tell you there are 3 good ways of looking at the future. Way number 1 is look into a crystal ball, try and forecast or predict what's going to happen, and then hopefully you'll be ready for it, or it won't be too much of a surprise. The second approach is to ask yourself, well, what if X happens, or what if Y happens? What if Google goes down permanently tomorrow? God forbid, but what if? And the answer then that you have to give is, well, in terms of my e-marketing strategy, does it go out of the window because of all my SEO, search engine optimization work? Whatever. The third approach is to say, let's forget about trying to predict the future. Let's try and forget about making contingency plans. What I've got to do is to go out and actually make the future for myself. What I'm going to do this afternoon is to talk a little bit about the first 2 initially, and then I'd like to come back and have a look at the third one with you briefly. Basically, what I want to try and share with you today is some ideas where you could become productive e-marketing specialists in your career. That's my goal. And hopefully the ideas we share will give you some way to begin to feel that you can actually make it in e-marketing and social media, plus developing your own company, your own products, your own services, or whatever. However, before we look into the future, Evangelos, could you take half of those and give one to each person up there? Mm-hmm. Before we look into the future, I'd like you to just spend a couple of minutes, each of you individually, filling in a little quiz. This is not meant as an assignment, or it's not going to be marked or anything like that. It's just try and get you to understand a little bit about what you know about the current landscape of e-marketing. Okay, let's ask you to pause for a moment, and let's see if I can get 1 or 2 answers to the last question. There's quite a lot of blank gaps as I walk around the room for questions 1 to 8. So some of the answers, incidentally, to those first few questions will come out during the rest of the talk. So watch out for them. Let me get 1 or 2 ideas from the last question. Who'd like to kick off and make a suggestion as to what they think is the latest big thing in e-marketing and social media? You can mention something that you heard earlier today or yesterday, or something you read about or watched on YouTube or whatever. Anybody like to offer something? Yeah, go ahead.
I said the RFID, the tracking that I talked about that earlier, the scanning of barcodes on.
Okay. RFID, radio frequency ID. Everybody familiar with RFID tags? If you're not, go to our library and ask to see one of our library books. They've all got an RFID tag inside them. Good example. Another example. Latest big thing. Anybody else?
Crowdsourcing.
Sorry?
Crowdsourcing.
Crowdsourcing. Fantastic. Both those two, RFID and crowdsourcing, will appear on at least one of the slides a little later. So thank you so much for that. It's a great entree. Third example. Yeah, go ahead.
Location-based applications.
Location-based applications.
That can start up your location and then do marketing on various applications?
Well, thanks for mentioning that. There's your fee. Okay. I used to be a geographer. That's why when she says anything like the word location, my heart goes, ooh, wow, you're warm now. Location-based applications or LBS, location-based services, absolutely. Again, this is fantastic because almost all of what you've suggested so far is coming up in a minute. So in a sense, I can run through all my slides because we know it all already, which is great. So let's make a start. Let's start thinking about the future together and see where it takes us. Let's start off with perhaps some probably near certainties about what's going to happen soon. Next few months, next year, certainly. Here's a certainty that's just gone by yet again. Every year it seems to me there's a huge peak in online retail activity around about Christmas time. There's two reports, one from 2006, one from 2007, both from the UK. But if you look at your own newspaper reports, here's one from USA Today, which I picked up when I was skiing in Colorado just a couple of weeks ago. Online sales soar for the holidays. So there's one certainty. If you're in e-tailing, make sure you build up for the Christmas, maybe also the Thanksgiving rush in the States. That's a banker, as we call it in the UK. You can put money on it. The second near certainty, as far as I'm concerned, is that most of e-marketing and the selling of e-marketing services and products is hugely hyped. It's built up with almost sometimes evangelical hysteria. Okay? I know what that's like because I come from an evangelical background, but that's religion, this is business. Okay? This is a recent report, just a few days ago, which tries to look behind the advertising hype for the iPad, tries to piece together some of the sales figures, which don't really exist because Apple's been very secretive about it, and suggesting that the performance of the application, the usability, isn't quite as good as it might seem from all the advertising material. That's something that happens all the time with almost every new product that's released. Here's something else that you may or may not have recognized. What is this?
Paper.
Paper. What's the slide say?
E-books.
The flight from paper, the retreat from paper. Wouldn't have guessed it looking around the desktops here. I mean, we've got huge amounts of paper, including cards for pizza. Lovely. Amazon, again, hype. We've got to be very careful. Amazon is not precisely telling us what the sales figures are. And when pundits say that the e-book, the Kindle, is outselling paperbacks, it's not. It may be outselling hardbacks, but remember, Kindle has been hugely promoted over the last 6 to 9 months. So there's obviously, what we call in the trade a hawthorn effect. A momentum has been created by huge advertising dollars.